guys.
Okay, yeah, listen, guys. First of all, welcome to the show. It is great to have you here. My main question, and, Brian, Sean, Alex G, Alex J, whoever wants to answer this question is I'm listening to Rich Kids, and whenever I listen to new music, something that I've never heard before, I'm always trying to think to myself, all right, what does this remind me of? What are the influences? And I'll be honest with you, I'm coming up with a blank, which basically is a really good thing because this is a very original composition. And I would like to know what your influences were in putting Rich Kids together because, I'm usually pretty good at hitting it with, okay, this band influenced them or that band. I got nothing.
Well, hey, you know what? That's honestly not a bad thing. I feel like in a lot of music marketing, either you say you sound like someone, or people will say you don't sound like anything. So I guess it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But in terms of our influences, I think that's a tough one to answer because we all actually come from very different backgrounds. Me myself, I came from more of a rock background, so I listened to a lot of Foo Fighters, I listened to the Beatles, and a lot of guitar-based bands. Well, I guess we couldn't really say the Beatles was mostly guitar, but you know what I mean, that kind of era. Brian, I know he came from more like a metal drumming kind of standpoint, and then Gaines was a classical music composer, and then James was. Where did you come from? You have a whole bunch of different backgrounds as well, but ultimately, I guess part of the reason it sounds so different is because we all listen and consume and produce different types of music in general. So we're an amalgamation of all of those.
It's a good thing.
Well, it's an original. It's an original composition. You guys wrote this, right?
Yeah, and
okay.
To add on to what Sean is saying, I think something about Shiffley is all of our tracks sound different from each other, and we lean into that. We think it'd be kind of boring to play the same thing a dozen different times. So we really like being creative with how each tune sounds, and that's one of our favorite parts.
But again, and I meant this really, truly as the highest compliment. I can't think of any influences that went into this music. This is original music, and original music that is good to dance to, good to listen to, good to tap your toe to. That's really hard to do. I don't know if you realize that, but it's really hard to do what you guys have pulled off.
And it's still got a commercial hook to it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
That's really nice. That's really nice to hear. Thank you, guys.
Now, you were
I
mentioning...
look forward to the time where... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you do it. Go finish.
I was just saying, we look forward to the time where we can actually get some sweet tapping in real life, get some shows going again. But
absolutely, yeah. Now, it should be getting nearer. Now, it depends on who you listen to as to how near, but I perceive that it will be this year sometime. Matter of fact, there are some artists and some venues that are actually getting into it already, and we're looking for that to hopefully proceed safely, not create any more explosions, and maybe we can get back to some semblance of normal. I want to back up just a little bit here. It was Alex, I think, one of you was mentioning the cycle and explaining what you were doing with it and the tunes. You had 14 tunes and everything. My question, a follow-up question to that is there an album coming out of this? And I could subtitle that question with, are we going to get a copy? Because I'd love to get some more of your music and maybe even have you come back and preview the album on the show. But is there going to be an album out of this?
Well, we're kind of in the middle of that conversation ourselves. Yeah, I think we had the original plan to go with a full album. We've been kind of looking at what the modern music industry looks at, as far as a measurement of success or a measurement of taking a bet on somebody. But, we're thinking either, we want to do an album because, all of these songs were written as an album. They were meant to be put out as an album. But we may do smaller kind of collections before then. Give people a taste of the music, let people get familiar with our sound, because this is also the first release we've had in a while. First time we've really done something in a little while.
Well, as you know, undoubtedly, there's a change in the way songs are released in this day and age. A lot of artists are going to a continual release of songs, like maybe one a month or, periodically like that. And this also builds the capability of an instant album whenever, you get a bunch of tunes that you like together that work together and, reach your audience. You can package them as an album and hopefully get some resale out of the tracks. But it's good to know that you do have that album thing in mind. Now, before we run out of time, we have a couple of basics here on the show, one of which, once you're on the show, you're part of our family, and we want to keep in touch with you, so we hope you keep in touch with us. To that end, one of our social media pages is on Facebook, and it's the David Bowers Awards groups page. That is up there, open to any artist or agent, for that matter, anyone connected with music, to post your music news, your new releases, show dates when we get to doing tours and things, whatever you want to share with the audience and hopefully build a new audience. Feel free to post it on there, and we will take it and post it to our other social media sites too, so that you get the maximum mileage out of it. So you keep that in mind. Put it on your press release list if you want, and by all means, keep in touch. Feel free to contact John or myself anytime you want. Questions, comments, whatever. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to keep track of our guests as they move onward and hopefully upward. And we've seen a few that have done just that. So we want you to keep that in mind. Another thing we do on the show, we believe in self-promotion to the nth degree. With that being said, I'm going to give you the time right now to promote yourself to the listeners. Tell them where they can find your music, where they can contact you, get in touch, follow what you're doing, the whole shebang. Go ahead. Stage is yours.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Brian. I just wanted to jump in and say hello. Thank you for having us on the show. Really do appreciate it. So as far as where you can find Shiffley, you can check out Shiffley on Instagram and Twitter at Shiffley Music. That is spelled with two F's, Shiffley Music. And check out our latest single, Gimme, which you'll hear in a couple moments. And you can find the music video on YouTube. And thanks again for having us.
And thank you for summing that up so well. We've got about 30 seconds left. Whichever one of you wants to take on this final question, tell us about the song we're going to play, Gimme.
So this one I wrote sort of about, it's like a self-criticism about being selfish, and I like to just be lighthearted with myself and sort of poke fun of myself. So this is sort of just that, making fun of my own selfishness.
Well, we're not going to make fun of you. We may make jokes with you, but we're not going to make fun of you. We're going to thank you for coming and sharing your time and story with us, invite you to come back and see us again, and wish you all the very best. Ladies and gentlemen, they call themselves Shiffley. They're out of Brooklyn, New York. You're going to love them. Check this out, their latest release, Gimme. and it's called Gimme. Hey, I'll tell you, those guys are good, and I really agree with you, John Bon Jovial, on how they defy you saying, "Wow, I can catch that influence in their music." It's very original. It's kind of as he said, it's kind of an amalgam. You've got some basic pop, obviously. They call it dirty synth rock from Brooklyn, and there's that in there. There's a definite punk influence, but it's definitely original sound, and I give them credit. They got something going. I hope they make it go. We want to thank you because we got to be going. We want to thank our guests, both the band Shiffley and, of course, Suzi Kory, for being with us today. And we hope you will be back with us again next week right here on the David Bowers Awards. John Bon Jovial, take us home.
Yes, sir. Well, folks, hey, like I say every week, you've done it again. You've spent another perfectly good hour with us here at the David Bowers Awards, and we are really, truly grateful for that. The David Bowers Awards is broadcast around the world from the studios of Computer Help USA in Naples, Florida, and, of course, from the Valley of the Sun in Tempe, Arizona. And we are available for free on most of the major streaming services at the David Bowers Awards. Follow the David Bowers Awards on Blog Talk Radio, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And join us next week, if you would, please, for the David Bowers Awards, Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern on WRFZ FM 106.3 on your FM dial. That's Rochester Free Radio in Rochester, New York, and on Blog Talk Radio, Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 6 p.m. DST, UTC, MOUSE. So until next week for the David Bowers and Nick, our fabulously geeky engineer, I am yours truly, the lovably legendary John Bon Jovial, saying, be good to each other. Wash your hands. Get your shot. Keep your distance. And we'll see you next week right here on the David Bowers Awards.